has more of a vibration or more of a thump than this one does. It's, oh, and there's a second fish. Holy cow. Good gracious. So even in some absolutely awful water clarity, they can most certainly find it. Oh, that's a good fish too. Welcome back, everybody. So it's no secret that one of my favorite lures to throw is the JackHammer, but somewhat recently they came out with the Baby Jack. It's the first time I've got my hands on it to throw it, so that's what we're going to go ahead and do today. See kind of what we like about it, what we don't like about it, and see if there is a reason to put another type of JackHammer or a ChatterBait in the tackle box. Before I forget though, we are still doing that giveaway, so make sure to stay till the end of the video and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But let's get after it. All right, so this is them out of the package. They're both black and blue, just a little bit different color scheme, black and blue. This is the Baby Jack. It does have a little bit more of a light wire hook. I think it's a 3/0 versus the JackHammer being a 5/0 and a little bit more stout. What's interesting is they are different brand hooks. I thought they'd very much be the same. The Baby Jack is a decoy and the Gamakatsu for the full-size JackHammer. I like both brands for hooks, so that doesn't bother me in the least. From what I understand, the Baby Jack is a little bit more weighted, a little bit more evenly, so it doesn't hunt quite as well or as much as the JackHammer. And that makes sense because there's a little bit more tungsten or a little bit more weight that is towards the middle of the hook versus on the JackHammer you don't have that. So that makes a little sense. The blade on the JackHammer is substantially bigger, so I assume that you're going to have a lot more thump from that one. Again, from the packaging, this one has a little bit more of a tight or faster vibration, so I don't know how much you're really going to want to use that. In my opinion, I've always used JackHammers when I want a lot of thump. So this is, again, a little bit more of a finesse presentation. I don't know how it's fits in with the stealth blade, because that's kind of what the stealth blade is supposed to be also. But we're going to start chucking this guy around. Our water clarity is awful, negative maybe. It's lime green, so I don't know if the Baby Jack will thrive in these conditions, but we're definitely going to start throwing her and see if we can't get into a couple. Yeah, I'm excited. I think we've been throwing a little bit too much top water, and the fish clearly haven't been responding super well to that, so I'm excited to throw some baits that we know should work. But let's start tying them up and see what they feel like and start catching some fish. All right, we're gonna do a couple practice casts. No trimming of the skirts, nothing like that, no plastics, just to kind of get a feel for the different vibrations. And that pulls like no other, kind of similar to how you would think a JackHammer normally does. So that's, and it hunts a little bit on the retrieve, so that is our standard. Now let's go ahead and chuck out our Baby Jack. And oh, it's so much tighter. It's so much less of a thumping pull. So I could definitely see why this would be something that you would want to throw a little bit more finesse. I don't know if it's going to do great in this water clarity, but we are certainly going to see. It honestly reminds me a fair amount about kind of like the Mini Max. I'd have to get the Mini Max out, maybe a little bit less than the Mini Max. So let's go ahead and get our plastics thrown on there and start chucking around, see if we can't catch a couple fish. Oh, I was just throwing it out there to kind of cast it around, and our first cast we had a fish. So that bodes well. Small guy, but that bodes well for how these fish like it. That's hilarious. Yeah, I was just casting out to kind of feel it a little bit more, but so I would definitely say the vibration on this thing is so much less, even more so when I threw on a plastic. So if you had to gauge, I don't know what would be more than a JackHammer, but if you gave a JackHammer like a 8 or 9, I would say this is honestly comes out to like a 3, maybe. I definitely would say that the Mini Max has more of a vibration or more of a thump than this one does. It's Oh, and there's a second fish. Holy cow. Good gracious. So even in some absolutely awful water clarity, they can most certainly find it. Oh, that's a good fish too. Come here, buddy. Good Lord. Oh, is that 2 fish and 3 casts? We've had such a rough go of it. Maybe we just needed to throw this thing on. This is ridiculous. No editing needed. But it is so much of a tighter vibration than certainly the JackHammer, and I think honestly the Mini Max too, by a fair amount. I do have a lighter rod that I'm throwing all this on because it is a little bit more of a finesse hook. Oh, I had another bite. Holy cow. They're just loaded. But yeah, this is a phenomenal start. We'll probably start chucking around the JackHammer at some point in time, but this is, I'm not going to stop throwing if it keeps going like this. All right, we didn't have a bite after a few casts, so we switched on over to the JackHammer to see if we can't pick up a couple more fish. Obviously, just with a different kind of thump and a little bit bigger presentation. Or maybe the Baby Jack is just what they want today. Oh, there's one. Oh, they definitely like the JackHammer too. Is this going to be a bigger fish? Nope. Very similar, the same size. Come on. Very similar. Another 2.5. We've had such a rough time throwing top water, and here we are now, just catching fish at will. I just think top water is potentially done for my area, which is unfortunate, or at least for me, because there are a couple more baits that I wanted to throw. But so we'll throw the JackHammer in this spot for a little bit, and then switch back on over to the Baby Jack, and just kind of keep doing that, to be honest. There's one. Come on. Oh. Come on, buddy. Doesn't feel very big. Nope. A little bit smaller. There we go. So, I've caught 3 fish now on the Baby Jack. And 2 of them have been a little bit smaller, and one's been a decent 2.5. That's a fat one, but I would say it's maybe 1.5. For as long as it is, it'd probably only be 1. So maybe you do end up with a little bit smaller size from a little bit smaller profile, which would make sense, but I like this a lot. And apparently the fish definitely do too. There's one. No, I don't think it's a big one. No, just a decent one. A light wire hook though, that gets them pinned. He's pulling hard. Oh, that's not a bad one. They absolutely inhale that thing, and it definitely sticks them well. Again, decoy hooks, I love. They work super, super well, super sharp. Those, BKKs, and Gamakatsus. My favorite. We're just catching them left and right. It It honestly blows my mind. Oh, I tore up our plastic already. Plastic's almost gone. It honestly blows my mind how this is a jackhammer, because it is so subtle. I said it was, I mean, I honestly would say it's half, no, not even half, maybe a third, maybe a quarter the amount of thump that you get from a true jackhammer. So I could 100% see this being a phenomenal lure if you're throwing something in winter. If you reel it really quickly, obviously that's with a paddle tail on there, it does ride a little high. So if you're in super skinny water, it's probably a good bait. Both of these, the jackhammer and the baby jack I'm throwing, are the exact same weight. They're both 3/8 of an ounce. So if you're throwing in skinny water, great for that. If you want to slow roll a jackhammer or a chatterbait or something like that, I might start throwing this like when it starts getting real late in October, November, instead of, or, you know, comparing it to what I typically throw and, you know, in your dark sleepers and stuff like that, and see if you don't end up potentially with better fish. Because this is smaller than a normal jackhammer, but when you're talking close to winter, late fall, this is kind of a big bait, so you might get some of those bigger fish to bite. I'm excited. That being said, they are very similar in price. So, and actually I can find some better deals on a true jackhammer than I can on this baby jack, and I assume it's very much because they're new. So something to consider. But yeah, I love this thing. I love both of them, which is awful because they're not cheap. Get him. Oh, is that a good fish? I felt that fish miss it like 3 times, or there's an absolute stack of them. Because again, this thing doesn't hunt all that much, so if you're getting the blade to stop vibrating, it's probably either a fish or you got some weeds. Oh, come on now. And again, these things just stick them so well. It's another 2 1/4. We're just catching fish like crazy. Yeah, let's throw back in there, because there were either a bunch in there or that one tried to eat it 3 times. Both are possible. Oh, there's one. Oh, is that a better fish? Is that oh, it's the first one we lost. And that was on the jackhammer. Shoot. It's the first spot that we didn't catch one on the baby jack first. And because I haven't thrown it before, that's every new spot we're starting with the baby jack, so it does have a better chance of catching fish, but we just missed that one, unfortunately. I'm gonna follow up with the baby jack. Obviously we're not gonna hook that one again, but let's see if there isn't a friend in there. Oh, that one smoked it. Most of the rest of them could just kind of followed it up and threw it too. Kind of just inhaled it, but that one actually hit it hard. And it's the first one we missed. Or second one. Well, I guess first one with the baby jack. There's one. Little guy. Little guy. Oop. Pop him off real quick. Oop. Stuck twice. Looks like he almost got hit by had a line wrapped around him or something like that. I don't know. Got him. That's not a bad one. Not real big. Come on, buddy. Oh my. All wet. I was throwing, that's not a real big one. I was throwing the JackHammer around that same area and didn't get a bite. Threw that in there. Second cast, got another one. That might be the last one of tonight. I don't necessarily think that's anything against the JackHammer. I just think there is definitely a difference, and sometimes the fish prefer it. I do like this thing because you can throw it in such shallow water because it does run a little bit higher. And that might have been why we got that fish, because that one was probably in about 8 inches of water. But we'll fish for a little bit longer. That might be our last one. And then we will go home because we have not caught a 4-pounder today. So we'll put another lure in the box and kind of give our final reviews. All right, we made it back home. In all honesty, our fishing trip today, I couldn't have been more happy. The number of fish and the size of fish was a wonderful change of pace compared to us trying to force feed a bunch of fish topwater that didn't want to do it, and only, you know, having a bite or 2 bites per trip. So that was a ton of fun. As far as the Baby Jack, I originally didn't think that there would be much purpose for it, and I was dead wrong. I love this little guy, and I think it's definitely going to be a staple in my tackle box, which I don't think I need more chatterbaits by any means, but it is different, and it does work a little bit differently. So obviously the biggest thing is it is so much less, or so much more of a subtle thump. It reminds me a lot of the Minimax, but obviously got some of those higher end components to it. And it is obviously bigger than the Minimax. So in my opinion, obviously, if you're throwing in a little bit more pressured situations, that's where this is going to thrive. A little bit more finesse stuff. Will most certainly use this sometime, you know, late fall, almost into winter before ice out, to see if you can't use something potentially like this that's more subtle than the JackHammer, but a little bit bigger profile to potentially get some of those bigger bites that still aren't as aggressive. I think I'm going to try it out. We'll see how it goes. But yeah. And in all honesty, throwing today, both of these baits, it seemed like fish did care, or it did matter to them. Because regardless of the situation, whichever one I threw first, occasionally you would have, you know, a couple bites and stuff like that, and it would just kind of end. And then you switch on over to, you know, the other one, whether it be the Baby Jack or the JackHammer, and you'd catch another fish or two. So in my opinion, I think the fish do actually have a little bit of a preference, and you might be able to, you know, if you're absolutely hammering in an area and catching a bunch of fish with either one of them, if that bite dies off, throw the other one a couple casts just to see if you can't, you know, pick up an extra fish or two or something like that. But yeah, I absolutely love this thing. Again, just a tighter vibration, a little bit quicker, much more subtle, a little bit more finessey. So I was throwing on a lighter rod and stuff like that, and I could crawl that thing so much slower than the JackHammer. I didn't really feel a ton of that hunting action, and that's kind of like what they said, because it's not quite weighted the same. I did use a paddle tail, so that kind of, you know, destroys some of that hunting action also. But yeah, very, very interesting. I like it a lot. I actually ended up ordering some more of them because there's some sites that are doing some promos and stuff like that, so I was able to get a few of them for quite a bit cheaper. I think they're, instead of the $20, I think they're around like 12 to 13. So yeah, got some on sale, and I definitely picked some more up. But that being said, we are still doing our giveaway. If you're new to the channel or anything else like that, we are doing a giveaway in kind of like a series format. From when we started, which was a few weeks ago, up until December 1st, every video that we don't catch a 4-pound largemouth, we end up putting a lure in the box. And once we either catch that 4-pounder or December 1st comes, whichever one happens first, we'll be doing a giveaway. So make sure to follow along with the videos and everything else like that, so you know when we're going to go ahead and give it away. At this rate, there's a decent chance that it's going to wait till December 1st. But if we do end up lucking into some decent fish at some point in time, we'll be giving it away sooner than that. That giveaway, again, will be over on Instagram and stuff like that. But make sure to follow around. We have a lot of baits in our box already, and everything under the sun, and it's not cheap junk lures by any means either. So like, comment, share for anybody who potentially wants the opportunity to win that. So that being said, we did not catch a 4-pounder today. I didn't have another baby jack or anything else like that to throw into our box. We already do have a jackhammer in there, but everybody's got their own preference as far as what kind of bladed jig they like to throw. So we're going to throw in a completely different one. It's the Berkeley Slobber Knocker. Not my favorite bladed jig, but a lot of people do like them, and a lot of people prefer them over jackhammer. So whoever's going to potentially get the box is going to get the best of every world, and they'll have the opportunity to kind of use both if they've never done that before. But as always, if you guys like the video, if you wouldn't mind liking, and if you want to see more videos like it, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that'd be greatly appreciated also. Till the next one.